The desert of Bahrain hosts the next round of the 2018 season, and most teams seem to pick up where they left off in Australia. Toro Rosso looked punchy in FP3, as did Haas on the soft compound. Haas, in fact, had phenomenal pace in the hot conditions, and were even matching Ferrari in the soft tyres on their long race runs. Qualifying, though, was an interesting event. Stoffel Vandoorne again out in Q1, with the same group as in Australia, except Charles Leclerc. The Monegasque rookie driver knocked out Brendan Hartley to make it into Q2. Both Fourth Indias didn't get into Q3, including the Renault of Hulkenberg, who failed to make the cut, as did Pierre Gasly. Max Verstappen, in fact, didn't go out for a run in Q3, which left him behind Carlos Sainz. Fernando Alonso split both Haas cars, with Dixon once again beating his more experienced teammate Romain Grosjean. Daniel Ricciardo couldn't break into the top four, with the Ferraris in second and third. Lewis Hamilton took pole position, which he will hope to turn into the race win as we start the race on Sunday. It's time, though, to go down to the track, and I'll hand you off to Chris for the race.
What is up, guys? Welcome to a brand new video. This time we're back for the 2018 career mode. We are here in the deserts of Bahrain, and not too bad of a qualifying. P6 isn't exactly fantastic, but could be a lot worse. You know, we could be a little bit further down the grid, but we are in the top 6, which is not bad for us. Luckily, obviously, Verstappen didn't go out for his third qualifying lap, so we managed to take full advantage of that and hopefully try and get a good result and even build on what we managed to do in Australia. We actually managed to put up some good pace in practice and actually managed to run as fast as the Ferraris, Vettel at least. Raikkonen does seem to be on another planet so far this race. We're going to have to see how things go as we pull into our grid slot. It's going to be a good race. Bahrain is always one of my favourites, and we are really out of position in our grid slot. We didn't exactly line up maybe as best as we should, but we're just waiting for the rest of the grid to form up, and we can get underway for the start of the Bahrain Grand Prix. We are ready to go. We have 5 lights on, and we are underway. Hamilton on the right, Raikkonen on the left. Sebastian Vettel not too far behind. You can see we pull to the left-hand side as we go alongside of Daniel Ricciardo. And you can also see we've got Fernando Alonso. We're going to move down the inside of Daniel Ricciardo and maybe get past if we can. We're going to go very side by side. Raikkonen is out in the lead and fully straight ahead. We've got Sebastian Vettel a little bit far behind, but we're going to close up to him as best as we can. I'm going to move all the way to the right-hand side of the circuit, left-hand side of the screen, and we're going to go down the inside of Sebastian Vettel and try and hold off as best we can. This is for P3, so we are up to the podium positions already, and it's still only the first lap. So we've done a fantastic job to get this little car all the way up to P3, and we're very competitive at the start of the race. And when it starts to go a little further into the evening, then that's when we will struggle. But we're going to have a look on board at our start, and you can see we get away well. We got a little bit of wheel spin, but it was Valtteri Bottas who had the worst start out of anybody. You can see we're going to push with Alonso, and then we're going to go all the way down to the right hand side and take the corner away from Danny Rick. We're going to give him plenty of space, as we're not going to give him, we don't want to get a puncture or anything like that. So we're going to cruise up to the back of Sebastian Vettel, who got a bit compromised by Lewis Hamilton ahead. We pull to the right hand side, and we brake relatively early, but we make it up as we coast into the corner and obviously get ahead of the 4-time world champion. So we've done an amazing job. And speaking of the 4-time world champion, he's under pressure from Daniel Ricciardo. So Daniel Ricciardo's looking to have a move on Sebastian Vettel. These two former teammates in the 2014 season. And we've got Alonso joining in the battle as well. So Alonso's trying to get past Sebastian Vettel. Bottas is hanging around, just having a little bit of a look. But Sebastian Vettel looks to be in a little bit of trouble. He may have some damage from lap 1, but we'll have to wait and find out at the end of the race if he had so. But Alonso doesn't make the position back on Sebastian Vettel, but a little bit further back. Lap 2, you can see we've got Carlos Sainz now pursuing, I believe that's Carlos Sainz is being pursued by Stoffel Vandoorne. Indeed it is, as they come closer into the camera. Stoffel Vandoorne goes round Carlos Sainz. Relatively easy move by the definitely Belgian. Our teammates trying to make some moves on Nico Hulkenberg. Going to go side by side through the sweeping left-hander, and Romain Grosjean moves himself up one more position. We've got Pierre Gasly, who is following suit, maybe trying to pick off a position on Nico Hulkenberg as well. We've got Max Verstappen, who hasn't made that many gains in all honesty. So at the moment, currently, Pierre Gasly is in the final point to pay in position, but he's going to have a look at Nico Hülkenberg. So this will move him up into P9, and I'm sure Verstappen is going to try and have a look at this as well. Our teammate is getting a bit of ground of these drivers, but Verstappen indeed is having a look at the Germany. You can see Fernando Alonso, Stoffel Van Dorn, the cars are so frustrating. Stoffel Van Dorn is trying to have a look at Nico Hülkenberg as well, and he's gone very slow. So Hülkenberg does look like he's going to have an issue. Currently, Van Dorn is in a sandwich of the Renaults, but Van Dorn looking to get past Nico Hülkenberg as well. So there's a serious issue for the German driver. His teammate will go past him relatively soon, I feel. But Stoffel Van Dorn looks like he's going to have the job done coming into the right-hander, and indeed he does. Nico Hülkenberg has got to try and work some magic if he's going to have any hope of doing anything. But we're on lap 3, coming on to lap 4 for ourselves. We are behind Lewis Hamilton in P2. We're gaining so much with this DRS. We're going to pull to the right hand side. Lewis doesn't defend, which is quite surprising. We're going to bring it into the braking zone, and Raikkonen's not too far away, but we go so deep into turn 1. We're going to go side by side with Hamilton, give him space, give the man plenty of space, and we're going to try and just get away from Hamilton. So not a bad job. You can see, have a look at a replay from a different perspective on how we made this move. We waited really late to go on the brakes, but then obviously we came back on and didn't want to damage any of our car or any of Hamilton's car for that matter. So we gave him a little bit of a berth, but nonetheless we managed to obviously pull out ahead. We'll have another look from Hamilton's perspective, more or less. But we left such a gap. I'm not actually sure why we didn't manage to brake a little bit better. Maybe our brakes are running a little bit hot around this circuit. Give it a few more laps and they'll cool down. Raikkonen obviously still out in the lead. He's doing a fantastic job for Ferrari, but we're going to move on to lap 5, and you can see here comes Charles Leclerc. He's going to have a look at the Renaults now. Carlos Sainz has made it through Hülkenberg, so Leclerc is going to go side by side with Nico Hülkenberg, and you've got Carlos Sainz, who could be in the picking of the braking zone if Leclerc is smart enough. He's going to go past Hülkenberg with little to no danger whatsoever, but Leclerc makes past one Renault, which is obviously a good sign. And Sergio Perez is going to have a look up the top of the hill on Hülkenberg as well. So Hülkenberg is falling back dramatically in this race, which obviously isn't good. Kimi Raikkonen is out in the lead in P1 at the moment, so Raikkonen making good on his practice pace and absolutely fine, where his teammate Sebastian Vettel is a little bit further down the grid. We've got Marcus Ericsson now also having a look at Nico Hülkenberg, so now being both Saubers are ahead of the Renaults at this point, and that's pretty dramatic considering Renault haven't scored any points. So this will push Sauber potentially above them in the constructors. We come in for our first pit stop today. We didn't actually get a drive-through penalty or penalty points. We did in the last race, so we actually incurred 3 penalty points. So we're a quarter of the way there to getting a race ban if things continue how they are. But nonetheless, we're going to carry on. We're going to go on to the soft tire. I'm going to come out relatively towards the back, as there's a massive battle here. We've got Hamilton, who is the next car behind us, but we managed to clear Hamilton, and we don't have to worry about him. Lance Stroll is the car we're going to come up to next in traffic. We're going to have to see how that goes. We've got Brendan Hartley. Haven't heard much about him this season. He's not doing a fantastic job, in all honesty, but Brendan Hartley is battling with Nico Hülkenberg, of course, and obviously we've got Esteban Ocon in the picture as well. Brendan Hartley's actually going to go around the outside of Nico Hülkenberg down the start-finish straight. We've got Esteban Ocon, who's looking a little bit punchy as well, who could get the job done if Nico Hülkenberg does make it a little bit easier for him. Ocon will have to go the long way around, as does Hartley. Ocon's going to back off on that, but Hülkenberg looking a little punchy on the exit, but this is just going to give Esteban Ocon an opportunity to overtake. He was really squirmy on the exit, was Hülkenberg, so there's definitely an issue maybe on the rear diffuser of that Renault, because he was lighting up those rear wheels like there was no tomorrow. So Brendan Hartley and Esteban Ocon through on Nico Hülkenberg. We've caught up to the back of Lance Stroll on the very same lap, and can't really get it done. Stroll is on worn super softs. We are on the brand new softs, obviously, and we're going to make a nice, easy work of that Williams car. Really not good this season. Absolutely awful in terms of pace. We've got Sergei Sorokin is the next car up ahead, and we're just going to stick to the back of him and follow him down the straights and go to the pit lane. We're going to go all the way up his gearbox up until we get to the pit lane wall, and then obviously we have to break away. But you can see Raikkonen has come out of the pits, and Raikkonen is just there. So we have actually lost a little bit of time to Kimi Raikkonen, which obviously isn't fantastic, isn't ideal. But there's a VSC has actually come out on track. There's a VSC out. Interesting to find out what that's for. We're going to turn our fuel mixer down just for the sake of that. And there's a car up on the right-hand side into the wall. There's a lot of debris, and that's Kimi. That was Kimi Räikkönen. Kimi is out of this race, and we have moved up into P4, which means that we are in the net lead of this race. We're going to have a look at the replay camera, and Kimi just pulls to the right-hand side, takes out the brake marker board, and just parks up on the right-hand side. So he literally just came out of the pits, so it's possible that he might have had a bad pit stop, might have had an unlucky ERS failure, but as it stands, we are leading the race, and we're coming on to start lap 9. We are now the leaders of this race, with Hamilton in second and Ricciardo in third, and we've gone fast, we've set a personal best, and we really need to like stretch our legs a little bit and do what we can to try and push and try and do the best we can on these tyres. There isn't going to be much in them, as a little bit further back you see Vettel under pressure from Max Verstappen. Verstappen is trying to get some work done here on Sebastian Vettel. Bottas obviously jumped in the pit stop phase, as we didn't see pass on track, but Verstappen couldn't get the work job done so far. We get another purple in sector 2, and then we're going to come across start finish line to start lap 10, and we have set the fastest lap of the race, so we are pushing these tyres to the absolute limit, trying to make sure that we keep that gap to Hamilton. It isn't a big gap, so we're going to do what we can to make sure we don't get overtaken. You got Max Verstappen again trying to make an opportunity on Sebastian Vettel, this time down the inside of turn 1. Vettel will have to break off. He actually goes wide, which is going to give our teammate Romain Grosjean an opportunity to overtake, and Stoffel Van Dorn might also look for an opportunity to pass Romain Grosjean and Vettel. Grosjean is going to try and make the opportunity. Van Dorn might have to hold back for another lap or two, but Grosjean doing what he can. He hasn't made it as easy as we was, and Sebastian Vettel was actually on the medium compound tyres as well, so maybe he wasn't that comfortable thinking he could go to the end on the softs like we can. So interesting strategy from them. We got Valtteri Bottas gone down the inside of Fernando Alonso, so Bottas is up one more position. Fernando Alonso moves down one more, but Nico Hülkenberg has having a look at trying to defend from Brendan Hartley. Brendan Hartley obviously lost out some time in the pit stops, and Hülkenberg possibly might defend. No, realistically, his Renault is absolutely awful this race. There's no reason why it's performing that bad. He might just have an issue, can't be engine wear because it's only the second race of the season, but Fernando Alonso has no engine wear whatsoever. He's having a look at Bottas, and now he's going to make a little bit of contact, I think. Alonso's going to go down the inside, and he's going to have a better exit as Bottas jumps across the corner. Alonso on the softs, Bottas also on the mediums. So Mercedes look like they've gone with a medium route, while Red Bull and obviously McLaren and Haas have all gone for the soft tyres. So we got Verstappen maybe going to be looking a little bit punchy towards the end if possible, but Alonso's still going side by side, but he can't quite get the move done on Bottas. He tried his best. We'll give him his due there, but not that bad. So we've got Romain Grosjean still trying to overtake Sebastian Vettel. Grosjean's going to go the long way round on Sebastian Vettel, and he's going to have the inside line for the next corner, so it looks as if Vettel will have to concede, and he does. Romain Grosjean up another position, so that's going to push Vettel all the way down to 8th. Vettel was having an awful time, but Bottas and Alonso again going at it, and Alonso does get past Bottas, and he could be vulnerable to Max Verstappen if he's not careful, but Alonso up one more position. All of this has been going on as we were about to come up to the line for the race. That's going to be the race win, our first race win in our second race. We got gifted that by Kimi Räikkönen, undoubtedly. Without his retirement, we wouldn't have won that. He was miles up the road. Was looking at a P2, but not going to say no to that. We'll just accept it. We're happy with that. But fantastic job by the Haas team. The car obviously was fantastic in these conditions, and going to be interesting to see if we can carry on this pace. It's a heartbreak for Ferrari, of course, but unlucky for Kimi. He will hopefully bounce back. But that's been it for me. I hope you've enjoyed the race, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll hand you over to Nick, and I'll see you at round 3 in China. I'll see you then, guys. Bye-bye.
Heartbreak for Ferrari here in Bahrain. It looked to be a certain victory for Kimi Räikkönen before his unfortunate retirement. ERS failure looks to be the culprit, but that gifted a debut victory for rookie driver Chris Dixon, who trailed the Finn by about 10 seconds at the point of his retirement. Hamilton came home in second ahead of Aussie Daniel Ricciardo, who scored his second podium in as many races. Alonso came home in another solid 4th place. Max Verstappen added 8 more points to his championship tally, while for Grosjean it was maybe a missed opportunity, considering how well Dixon progressed up the field. Sebastian Vettel, who took damage early on, stumbled home in 8th place. Stoffel Van Dorn drove a fantastic race, coming home in P9, having started from 18th. And it was Pierre Gasly who got the final points position in 10th as Toro Rosso get their first points on the board. Charles Leclerc came home in 14th, again ahead of Marcus Ericsson, and Carlos Sainz was the last of the finishers. Incidentally, he also brought out the safety car, the virtual safety car I should say, just before Kimi Räikkönen retired. The sun has now set and we move forward to China. I've been Nick Allflat and I'll see you in Shanghai.